I hope you can hear and see me. This is Erga with you today. And the topic we're going to talk about today, why do bad things happen to good people? This topic has been chosen on purpose because sometimes in our lives, we cannot give an answers to the things that happens either to us ourselves, to our colleagues, relatives, friends, and people around. We cannot justify them. These actions, seemingly what we perceive as the bad things. And I know that many people try to explain not only people, but also other seemingly sciences or approaches or wisdoms or methods, trying to explain religions even, why that happens and why you have to follow certain rules, or why you should think this way or another way, so many other things. And you can easily get confused if you start choosing what methods to follow and try to understand who is right or wrong. Kabbalah provides a very unique answer to this question. It tells you that you have to explain it to yourself. And indeed, you did hear it right. You have to explain it to yourself. And yes, they wouldn't leave you alone. They just simply explain you how you can study Kabbalah, wisdom of Kabbalah, take the books, take the methods, hear what teacher's saying to you, but then start practicing what actually it is about. Why it is important so? First of all, it's you, the one who actually giving answers to everything what you see around and hear around yourself. No one is telling you, explaining you, so you don't have to believe it. You will simply have to feel it, understand it, and then make a judgment. Why bad things happen to good people? But obviously, you won't be happy because it's going to take some time, right, to study the wisdom of Kabbalah. It may take easily, a year or so, or sometimes Kabbalists say you at least have to study 5 years of very intense study. And here I am, Erga, right, to explain you at least briefly why it may happen and why it is not easy to answer. Well, I have made the research, and I will show you a brief video clip from the Kabbalist at the end of a session. And before doing that, obviously, I'm going to explain and guide you step by step how and what you can do to explain to yourself. So let's follow this way. What I'm going to show you a few slides and guide you step by step so you could see it why it is so. But so basically, first of all, look at other things, what others say about it. On the question, why do bad things happen to good people? And here you may classify certain categories of the responses. One of them I would say, and Sorry, just quickly, I will get you through the... Yep, hope you can see it now. So basically here, what I'm trying to say that with this question, it's universal question, because you may hear many people ask the same question. And this question are quite fair and straightforward. If you take religions, they say the God is good, right? He's doing everything for our own good. It's probably us who are behaving differently, let's put it this way, or not following so similarly good deeds. Then obviously you get an answer, probably that's the reason why you suffer. But it is not sufficient answer, right? Because we see many examples in our lives that we see other way around, when people suffer not necessarily because they've done something wrong. To the contrary, they've probably done something good, and yet they suffer. And therefore, a question remains, and therefore, this is not the answer you would like to hear. What we propose, or Kabbalists say, that you have to follow actually what the science would tell you. First of all, the science developed at that stage that you can easily, give an answer to many of the questions you may have. And scientific approach would be the most suitable for us, for those who live in 21st century. And if you simply follow some of the advice of the scientists, obviously you're going to have a more or less good, comfortable life. And that's the right approach. Having said so, practically speaking, right, this is, what Kabbalah is saying, you have to firmly stand on ground and give an answer from the science. And similar, Kabbalah is also a science, but it talks about the forces, the behind the things you could see with your eyes and hear with your ears. These forces are hidden at the moment. Why? Because we still have to develop certain senses that would allow you to feel the forces behind the things you see. And that is why you need a wisdom of Kabbalah to feel it. Exactly what I told you in the beginning, that you will get the answers yourself once you develop these senses. Kabbalists call it masach, or screen, that enables you to feel it, to feel the source and the reasons behind any actions you see. And when you study Kabbalah, you would start developing the sensation and feel and explain many things happening to you yourself and the things that around you that takes place with humanity. These are all difficult questions. And if you take examples or you hear stories, like people losing their jobs unexpectedly, or God forbid, your loving family faces illness or whatever not, the question normally arises, why them? Especially if you know them well, if you know them personally, and you would observe their lives, and you would see there is no good reasons, for them to suffer, right? Because they've been decent people, they've been, committed to the families, they're doing good jobs, and they've been studying hard. But something happened, and that's it. How you would explain to yourself and to them, how you'd help them? Because the main purpose of a Kabbalah is not only to help yourself, but also there is a byproduct, if you like, a consequence When you study Kabbalah, you're effectively helping out the whole humanity. Entire humanity really benefits when you study Kabbalah. And therefore, wisdom of Kabbalah is particularly revealed during these days at the end of last century and these, in 21st century, particular at the difficult times when actually you may help out the whole humanity to give an answer to these questions they may have. And common explanations you may hear that they say, yeah, you get a punishment for something you have done wrong. As I mentioned a bit in the beginning, but what is limiting this explanation for the particular educated person in 21st century? You wouldn't see the cause and the consequences, right? Because sometimes you have to believe it, or sometimes they tell you that okay, a man or woman person is born, and then he's being tested. To what extent he devoted or committed, and he goes seemingly through certain examinations in his or her lives, and then you get either reward or punishment. But as you could see that this approach lacks the full picture. It lacks complete understanding. Why still? The question still why remains. In particular, you may have some difficult questions. Even newborn babies, God forbid, born sick, handicapped. So then seemingly we're not in equal position from very beginning. So how come you can blame a person, right? And whatever happens in that respect, you would find a response from the seculars, from the scientific approach, that you cannot explain, but maybe you have done something wrong, or maybe certain occasions happened, like for example what we have experienced ourselves recently, the viruses, right, the COVID. Unfortunately, it happens that if a person born or lives through this period of time, he usually or he has a high risk of getting risks of getting sick, right? And then you call it okay, bad luck, he has or she has born in that time. Or maybe it happens that he is born in the country where there is social injustice, or any events could take place, and then as a result a person or people suffer because of it. But why? The question still remains why that particular person, country, nations, family, I don't know, time, if you like, right? So still all these answers, they lack the explanations. They still leave people not fulfilled with the answers, but at least they give something, they give some explanation, right? So, and some people will feel happy, but if you're watching it, it means that you're not happy with the explanations. It means that something drives you even more than that. Something burns within your heart, demanding the answer, which doesn't leave you, stay happy in this state. And those people, like you are watching this video, you are the ones that Kabbalists call them chosen ones, with the point in the heart, who are so desperate, who are very smart, who are very educated and very experienced enough not to stay happy or relaxed about such issues, and you still search for the answers, right? Because you want to have a solution, you want to see happy life, you want to have a comfortable life, you want to be in a good state, and also see people around you in a happy state. So Kabbalah says suffering is not a punishment really, but a signal for the correction. Yes, it is possible that you have done something wrong, and I hope it is not your case. It could be punished, right, by the society, by the law of the country where you live in. But suggest you're not doing that, right? And you're a normal person. You have work, you have family, you do whatever, you comply with legislation, you pay taxes, and nothing wrong with it at all. But something happens to you. And again, this is not because you've done something wrong. It's just a nature we're living, what Kabbalists call them creator, the environment that we build up for us to develop, to grow, actually sends you a signal for the correction. And you may be puzzled at this stage, asking Erga, why it is so? What kind of signal? If I don't wish any bad things to anyone, I'm a good guy, I'm loving my family, my children, my wife or husband. Why? The thing is, we as a humanity, as the people on the planet, from the point of view of the nature of the creator, of the force that develops us, not only us, but the whole system, inanimate, animal, vegetative systems, including speaking our levels, human levels, we are the one yet to develop. We are not complete in this sense. We have to develop even to the higher level. We have to be better ourselves, because believe it or not, but there are some higher systems that still want you to develop. They're like a parents taking care of us. When we don't want to go to kindergarten, they still make it to go there, and they then send us to school, so we get smarter, educated, and then we go to the universities to get our professions, to understand how the life works, to make good happy life, right, for ourselves. They're real loving parents. The only thing sometimes, what, right, guess what, yeah, I've been myself as a boy, right? I know that sometimes I didn't want to study. Why should I do my homework when I want to enjoy, when I play football, I do whatever I want to? Why I was forced to do something by parents, by society? Why society is built this way? Why I have to do all this stuff? So same thing with the spiritual development. Sooner or later, the whole humanity, not only all of us, right, watching this video and having this lesson or session, we are not only the ones, the whole humanity, the entire humanity, all people on this planet will have to go through the spiritual development sooner or later. And for those who are awakened with the pointed heart, we're upfront, we're being pioneers in this development. Same thing like happens to many years ago when we had the switches of the civilization, when we had the slavery, right? And then we had the period of time when we have to develop something more advanced stages until we get the capitalism, right? And then we got developed to the technological development and stuff like that. So every time you had a certain number of small group of people who developed, and then the entire humanity just joined them. And similarly here, we go through the process when small group of people will start the process of studying Kabbalah, studying the principle of a life, the forces that manage us, that develop us, that forces us to grow to the higher level. And to obtain this, what I mentioned, a screen, a masah, what they call it, so you could feel the forces behind the corporeal stuff, behind the things you could feel and touch. And once you're there, once you raise yourself up to that level, being like a creator, being like a source that created all of us, then you can say, I am responsible for my life. I am responsible for myself and for the people around me, because in this state, it is fair to say that from now on, you will have everything in your hand to manage your life. Up until now, we're all the humanity were being like a kids in the hands of the nature. But the thing is, and the problem, that it is impossible to guess, to intuitively check it out how you develop in the right way. You need experienced people who have already been there, or group of people like Kabbalists who are able to explain and give us a tool and instrument, the wisdom of Kabbalah. And we have seen, and if you have seen, Kabbalah Explained Simply, the chain of the explanations, where we have actually the method of Kabbalah developed throughout the years, thousands of years, sufficient to get a tool, powerful tool, when you are, all people, regardless of their race, age, education level, no matter what, where you live in, we all have equal opportunities to develop this Masada screen that enable us to develop to the high level. So gradually, slowly, you would live in two worlds, not only in this corporeal world, but also in the world of the forces that manage this corporeal world. And therefore, all this explanation of Kabbalah will become clear for you, why there is no evil in the world, but only uncorrected desires. Meaning that we all have all desires, right? Either I'm thirsty, I want to drink, right? Or I want to do something else. I don't know. I have different desires. I want a good career. I want money. I want wealth. I want to, might get PhD. I want to be a smart guy. I want to honor. I want to respect. I don't know. I want to be president, right? Whatever not. We all have different desires, but the only missing thing here is that Kabbalists explain to us that we are missing a masach, that screen, this powerful tool in our hands, which will able to do the actions, which will be very, well, not very, correct from very beginning. You wouldn't do mistake if you study, if you understand how it works, if you follow these laws of nature, not only the laws of gravity or any other laws of nature, but also the laws that drives, the world, the development of the humanity and of the nature. So, in other words, we're coming to the very important point. What are the desires? Desire is an engine. It is a powerful tool. It is something that the vessel, what Kabbalists say, that the Creator would like us to give us pleasure. So we feel ourselves at the very sublime state, living happily, complete and fulfilled. And any spiritual pleasure, it's so sublime, it's so high, and unfortunately, I am not able to explain you and not going to convey you how you're going to feel it. But the explanation of a Kabbalah is that any pleasure in spirituality, in spiritual world, is way above of any corporeal pleasure you have experienced yourself. Even sexual pleasures, they will be way below of the spiritual pleasures in the desires, in the spiritual desires. And therefore, that is the very point that we have to develop. We need to advance it even higher. And the quality of those spiritual desires, they're way above what could even imagine. And again, it's because of a Masach, the screen, that we're going to develop. If it's going to study Kabbalah, we're going to develop it. The difference between the pleasure experiencing in spirituality is that, I'll give an example. In our world, if you come across with scientists they're usually people that you wouldn't feel much of expression of the emotions. They will be very smart people, but they potentially may have issues or problems with expressing themselves emotionally. Unlike people who are like artists or whoever have a profession dealing with emotions, like singers or actors, they could easily express themselves right emotionally. And you think that there is a mismatch, you either being emotional or you will be being smart and dry, let's put it this way. In spirituality is impossible. The way we develop, you develop both mind and the heart. The higher pleasure you get, the smarter you are. The wisdom you get, it's a higher one. It's impossible being like half cases where you kind of feel one thing but you don't feel another one. And therefore it's another reason why we as a humanity have to develop even further higher up. We shouldn't just stay calm and be feeling ourselves comfortable, because Kabbalists say living the way we live now, it looks like as if you live as any animal on the planet live this way. And therefore they're not trying to downgrade anybody, saying it's kind of bitter life. No, to the contrary, they challenge you. Come on, there is a more space to advance. There is more opportunities to be even higher, to live in the higher states. They challenge you. It's like you go to school, you study in the first grade, so what? There is a second one, third one, fourth one, number 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever. You go higher. And therefore the nature, the creator, has no other tools other than give us either pain, the signals of pain, or pleasure. So far, like we, when we treat the animals, how we're gonna treat them? We either please them, right, or we there is a stick, right? When we try to encourage them, right? We use the sticks, like riding horses, or or you have a sheep, so whatever. Not, I mean, you the way you treat the animals, same way with us. Same way if you look globally, what two instruments any government has in the any given country on the planet? What do you think? Right, same thing. Either money, they encourage you to develop the business, the economy, get jobs done, or you'll be punished for something you have done something wrong. There is a law, right? And there is an army behind, or police, if you like. So same things, the way you develop with the kids, you either reward them with the candies if they've done something good, or give them gifts, or you punish them, you restrict them, you don't go outside until you do the homework or whatever. Not right, unless I don't know any. I'm not sure these days the culture, how they would educate children. You may have different studies, different rules, but you got the point, right? You have these limitations when you develop. Next thing, which is very important, the way we deal with the problems in corporate life. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. When you have a problem, you usually tend to resolve it, right? You usually go and fix it. For example, there is disease, right? The virus, you have a cure against it. Or you have issue with, I don't know, environment. You need to clean the pollution, right? The environmental issues. But the problem is, if we are going to approach directly, the likelihood of having a solution, right one, is very low. And I'll give you an examples. Yellowstone. Many have heard, these park, national park or Yellowstone, right? When they got rid of the wolves, and they thought probably that it's a good thing because they kill animals and seemingly as if they're bad creatures killing other animals. But actually, it worked other way around. The nature in the national park would state that it was almost eventually impossible to recover, and they've been really puzzled what can they do, because they had the issues whether other animals got sick or they got issues with the rivers even going out of their borders. They had some flooding issues there. So surprisingly, when they get the wolves back into the park, everything been restored. And suddenly, you have all animals, living happily. You have even rivers, flowing in the right direction. You have forest, everything. And you think, why, right? It's just a sign we don't understand completely that there is no bad thing in the nature, no bad animals, seemingly, not a thing. Same with all desires we have. You may think that these people bad or that people good. No, what Kabbalah is saying, every creature has a purpose. Every creature has a place. The only thing, what? There is a need for the correction of intention. So this is what Kabbalist is dealing with. Because the topic of this session, right? Why do bad things happen to good people? We ask this question not because we were curious, so right, and we just get the answer and we then stay happy. No, we would like to see a solution. We would like to see how these problems being resolved. And this is why Kabbalah is important here, that they exactly explains how you're going to deal with it in the right way. And I give an example with the wolves, right, in nature, but also other examples, like in China, they are, I think they're trying to get rid of the birds who similarly at the corns, right, on the fields. And when they killed the birds, right, what happened? Some insects came and eat everything up. So the nature is kind of giving a signal. We not really know enough how these balance and nature balance itself out. And if we don't know how the nature is balancing it out, how we know about ourselves, because we are also part of this nature. Why we think that if we act in this given way, it's going to help us out? Why? We don't know. I mean, yeah, we can see some results, immediate one, but in the long run, if you look and see, whether it's done good or bad for us, it's a question mark, right? I give you an example. With the cure, with the medicine, right? You know that there are some medicine that have side effects. So yeah, you're going to help them out, but in the long run, is it truly a cure? Then you need a cure against another cure, right? So it's kind of a joke. You laugh at, right? But yeah, you get side effects. And then again, it is a sign that something that we don't know completely, something is missing out. And therefore, the solution is really not to always look for the answers in the level we live in. It's the nature that inviting us to go and rise higher and higher, to develop ourselves, develop another sense. Yes, we can see, we can hear, right? We can touch, we can smell, and we can digest, we can analyze the information, and even invent technologies which are making our lives comfortable, which is a good thing. But on the other hand, we don't know what kind of damage we're causing to the environment, to the nature, having all these pollution, right? When we develop technologies, obviously you extract the resources from the nature, and there is good reason why questions been raised whether we need to explore other planets like Mars, flying on there, right, to seek for the new planet, new environment where it can live in. And therefore the question mark is really still here, whether technological development is really helping us out to live peacefully and for a long time, right? So I hope you get the point, right? And by the way, if you have any questions, yeah, please keep your questions. Then we have a Zoom session after it, and then I hope I will be able to answer all questions. So the bottom of my message here, if you think what are the practical steps for the individuals like we are, right, searching and be honest with ourselves, honest with the answer solution that is going to fulfill us completely, and also not only for ourselves but also the people around us. But we are the pioneers, we're checking this out, and not only us. I mean, there are so many other Kabbalists before us, thousands of them, who have done it, and they see there is a way around it. So first of all, what they do, they invite us to recognize the message, no matter what, no matter you feel and see it is wrong or right. In the first instance, when you get this impression, and surprisingly, I think the good thing about wisdom of Kabbalah, every time you have certain issues, it's very interesting. The likelihood the answer would be almost the same to all your problems you may experience. What they will say, connect in the right way with other people, connect in the right way with other people around you. So it means that not only that you try to look for the solutions, like looking for the cures, right, for the against the illness or sickness, God forbid, diseases, but also on top of it, you have to, or we all have to, develop a second level of nature that behind this corporeal stuff. This is what we ought to understand, that this is what we need. Why it is important so to connect in the right way? Because in this connection between all of us, in the right connection, we invite the source, the source of the life, the creator, what we call it, that give us the power, everything what we need to have this cure, the light, in other words. We call it in Kabbalah the reforming light, that corrects all our similar problems, right? I'll give an example. In Kabbalah, we also have managed to develop a practical instrument. We call it integral education, where we would be able to implement the wisdom of Kabbalah without saying a single word about creator, Kabbalah, and stuff like that, because it sounds really ancient stuff, right? Or similarly, kind of a semi-religion. But actually, when you find other words, other definitions, and we made actually experiments with a group of people and the businesses even, when we connected people in the right way, so in this relationship between all of them, they could draw the light. Their KPIs, like revenue, profits, sick days, sick leaves, right, whatever, they have decreased, and obviously increased the profits and revenue. By doing what? You think they introduce softwares, controls, cameras, or the way they deal certain negotiation techniques with the clients, finding new clients, advertisements? No, nothing of it at all. Simply having a better connection in the team between colleagues. They improve the business KPIs significantly, and this is a solution, we thought, right? And the only thing is, we need to be careful here, is that on the way of a development spiritually, when we develop in Masach screen the intention to bestow to the Creator, it really needs to be genuine, meaning that you really need to do something for the good, for the sake, for the building this Masach, right, the screen, in order to bestow to the source, to the Creator. And this is coming, by the way, to the advanced point here. I hope you get it, but this is the whole difference between everything else in other methods. Because normally people, when they do good things, they expect something in return, even subconsciously. Check yourself out. When you even you do a good thing, sometimes we do expect at least thank you or smile back at us, right, for something done good. We do not expect something happen bad in return, right? So it always subconsciously we expect something getting in return, and this is not the way that the Creator behaves with us. If he would behave like that, no one would live in this planet in a good life. You could see it for yourself. We similarly done something bad, and yet nothing wrong happens. We still live it, right? No one is punishing us. We use resources of the planet, and to be honest, if I would be host of this planet, I would say, guys, come on, are you kidding? What are you doing with the planet? You're ruining. But you see, as if seemingly no response back, right, for the seemingly bad things you do. Yeah, it's not obviously that straightforward. Obviously, because the system is integral, if you do some bad things, it may go through the circle of the actions. You won't see and feel it now, but you go and feel it, through the times. That's why we need Kabbalah again. When you raise above it and you see above the time and space, this is what they call it, and then you'll be able to see that it actually is going backwards. But you don't see it straight away on this level, right, with your physical eyes and hearing your ears, but to feel it with your this sense of a masach, of a screen that Kabbalah talks about. And the point I'm trying to make, that we truly need to have these masach that is very similar to what Creator relates to us, with the love and care. And only this condition will help you out to raise above it and correct all layers below you at the level of animal, vegetative, and inanimate. So this is what, in a nutshell, what we call study authentic Kabbalah, because once you join the study class and your friends or other students, you will be able to practice and test yourself, check out your mind and the heart, and then you advance it. And this is not just simply act of kindness. It's not simply just giving bestow physically, not a charity, not something you're doing good. All these actions, what we do between all of us when we study and study itself, we actually trying to draw the light, the upper force that is going to correct ourselves. This intention. Remember, the will to receive, the desire itself still remains there. You're still going to enjoy. You're still going to have even uplifted, sublime pleasures of a spiritual world, but with different intention. It's under the condition of having different intentions. This is what we're going to go through the transformation once you study Kabbalah. And the good news again, When you do so with yourself, you're also doing good for the others. You're kind of doing a favors for anybody else. Therefore, the more people study Kabbalah, the better for the whole humanity. It's like, again, small group becoming bigger and bigger until get the next stage of evolution in the development of humanity. So why we see this crisis, especially these days specifically, right? Why we see hardships? It's also part of the development. Remember, Kabbalah is not for those things that you do good things, you get the good, and you get the evil, you also get the evil results, right? On top of it, yes, it is truly so, but on top of it, there is a purpose of creation. The thing in which we talked about, that there's certain a plan, if you like, of the creator who created us to develop us to the stage where we also grow, be like him, be higher than just simply humans as we are now, but even higher, more developed, better version of ourselves. And this is where we're not simply living like we believe that we're kind of in having freedom, right? No one watches, so no one is taking care of us. No, creator is really caring about us. He's like a real loving mother. It's us, like a children, left in rooms thinking that there is no mother in the room, no one cares. No, we know for sure that mother made sure that everything in the room set it up in a way that wouldn't harm ourselves as being a kids, right? Playing with different things. Maybe a camera may be hidden, we don't know even. But everything is done for the good, right? For us, for our development. And therefore, sometimes that force, this high upper force, gives us signals that through the hardships, suffering, that something needs to be corrected. And it's a call of nature, if you like. It's not necessarily be an outcome of something you have done wrong. No, absolutely no. This is one thing. Second thing, this type of force looks at us and all humanity not individually. Although, yeah, there is a private, providence, what we call it, but also it looks at us at the collective, as a humanity. They call it Adam Rishon, the system of Adam, right? The humanity that is being built up in a way, then we structure it in a different pieces. Again, I'm talking about forces, not the bodies, which eventually, end up having so many people, billions now these days on the planet. The good thing about having this shattering, when we split out in many pieces, is that we are able to deal with the cases of transforming the will to receive into a better version of ourselves easier, because we will be split out, because we will split out the weight. It's like in a heavy lifting, right? You get a 1 kilo, it's easier, but once you get a higher, dumbbell, or we have the whatever not in a gym, then obviously it's more difficult for you. But if 10 of us, obviously it's easier to lift any heavy things, right? Any similarly difficult stuff will be easier to handle. And therefore, this collective awakening is very important, that we are helping each other out, and we're making, again, a favor to each other when we have a collective call, collective actions. That's why we need a group of us students, friends around us who would support us, and we support each other to advance quicker. And obviously, we're the outcome we always tell to the rest of humanity, and whoever is willing and want to, they may simply join us. Everything is open, transparent. You could see the websites, they open free of charge. You get in there, you get everything. The only thing, probably, if you go to the classes, because we need still, pay for the internet, the energy, right? The electricity. We rent the offices and we print the books. Obviously, we need money. But most of the work we do is on a voluntary basis, right? For example, I'm not paid. I'm volunteer, but I'm still using computer and still use materials and it's softwares, right, to make a broadcast. Nearly. So we cover this portion of the costs. But anything else, it's real open. I mean, it's so transparent and so easy to follow, and it's available. And therefore, the all teachers previously, when they printed out the books, they made a really good favor to all of us, to the humanity, that there is a method shared openly with us, all of us. If previously we heard that early years, like 1,000 years ago, they've been afraid of that, they could misuse these wisdom of Kabbalah somehow. These days, there is no such a fear, because we're at the level when if you go out on the street and ask guys, what do you choose, a book wisdom of Kabbalah, right? Or you'll be giving, I don't know, a car, Mercedes, or I don't know, Tesla these days, right? Then what's your choice? Obviously, people would probably high likelihood that they would choose Tesla or Mercedes instead of the wisdom of Kabbalah, the book of Kabbalah, where you could lift yourself up to the higher level to connect with the Creator. Yeah, I'm not trying to judge. I'm not criticizing anything. It's just I would probably do it myself. I would know this. But it's in our nature, right? This is why it is so open now. No fear, nothing. Everything open. Just come and study. And this probably it I want to tell you. So how we can really, advance ourselves to the really sublime higher state life, if you like, making our life happier for all of us. And the purpose of the creation, not only us as a humanity doing and living happily, right? Because it also will be selfish. But the thought of creation is even higher. It take all of the layers of the nature, animal, vegetative, and animate, including the entire universe, where we see, right, in telescopes. All this nature, they have to be lifted up to the higher level, to the Creator. So you could see it's very sublime purpose, very high, but it's worth it, going even higher to that levels. So yeah, if you are interested, obviously you can join and study. If not, obviously you have a free choice. I mean, no one is trying to force you or some watching over your shoulders and tell do this and that. No, absolutely not. You search, you study for anything else, other methods, which is also fine. We're all looking for something that suits our best our needs, which is a good thing. This is what I like about Kabbalah. They always be, honest with yourself, with anybody else. Check yourself out and do, yeah. But this is what I love Kabbalah. Being honest, being transparent, and give us really, really powerful tool in your hands when you lift yourself up from any state, any worst that you could ever imagine. You have a chance to lift yourself up. And by that, I have offered you a short video clip where the Kabbalist Michael Laitman also gives you a short answer to this question, difficult question, which we have studied this session. Why do bad things happen to good people? Let's watch it out.
California, and I want to know, why do bad things happen to good people?
This is a very complicated matter. It's a good and simple question, but it's actually very non-simple. Because the truth is that in our world, we feel many phenomena that as if have no place. Why? What for? We can ask that about anything and everything. Something happens with the whole of nature, with my cat or dog at home, and with people. and the galaxies and everything. We have no idea, and in order to know that, we truly need the wisdom of Kabbalah to open up the whole of reality for us. But when we do, we start understanding the reason for each and everything, and then we see how this whole system is interconnected globally, integrally, in a total interdependent connection. And then we start understanding that if we see a part of reality, then suddenly this pops up, that happens here, there, but we don't see the reasons, and everything seems to us incidental. And not only incidental, but also unjust, as that lovely young lady asked, and so on. And if we see the whole of the system, then we see how these things, they come according to a plan that began a long time ago and many actions ago, and it unfolds through us, reaching its purpose, a predetermined one. And then we start seeing and justifying all of these actions, because the final goal, at the end, we have to ascend to the degree of the whole of nature, which is called the Creator. And in order to bring us to such a degree where we will know and understand and feel everything, for us to truly to rise to the degree of man who stands at the top of the world, we thus have to undergo this entire process, but that opens up only on condition that a person sees this entire perspective. Until then, she's 100% right. There are bad things that happen to good people.
There's so many examples of people who try to do good things, even if, let's say, if they don't know what is good. Why?
We will be unable to do anything. We won't be able to justify the situation. We won't be able to understand anything that's going on around us, neither within us, and I can never justify that which is going on. Why am I living? Why was I born? Why was I born with such attributes in this family in such a time? Why do I have to live the way I do? Why do I have to do why, and why? I can ask why about everything, about every single moment in life, and I can give an excessive bill to the one who did it all to me. But the moment I open up, I unfold the entire system from beginning to end and see all that's going on, I have nothing to say. My mouth shuts. So first of all, we have to find everything out and then respond. Thus the Creator, the upper force that governs us, is hidden, because He knows that we're full of complaints at the moment, and to the extent to which we can justify Him as a result of unfolding the entire process we're undergoing, then He reveals Himself. Then the only thing we want to do is bless Him. You can say whatever you want, but that's reality. It's better for us to acknowledge. It's like in our world. A kid that his parents put pressure on him, want him to go to school and to behave nicely and this and that. The way he sees it, his parents are cruel. They're sending him to that school. He doesn't want these things. And they demand different things from him from dusk till dawn. Instead, he wants to play, wants to do nice things with his friends. That's great, from dusk till dawn. How come? They gave birth to me? Did I ask them to do it? No. Besides giving birth to me, not according to my own request, they put me into school and this whole system. Why? How come? We're like those small children with claims against the Creator.
Who asked for it?
You made me. You gave me this life. How come? So what can you do? And there's only one solution for that. To discover, unfold the whole great, big, broad world with its hidden part. And then we will both achieve not cursing our lives, not cursing the upper force, but we will live in a nice, good perspective. Everything will seem to us as a dream come true. You have no other choice. There's no other solution but to discover and see.
Okay, so Kathy, we have to discover this new reality.
Please do.
Okay, let's.
Okay, yeah, well, let's do it, right? So Thank you for being with me, with Erga today, and I hope you enjoyed this session. I'm inviting you for the Zoom session we have now, where you have a chance to ask any question you may have so far or left with you. Don't be afraid of anything, any question, any provocative questions. I am more than welcome to answer any question that you may have still. Wishing you all the best, and see you soon.